Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by, and welcome to Mogu First Quarter Fiscal Year 2021 Earnings Call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After the speaker's presentations, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If at any time you require assistance, please press star 0. I would now like to turn the call over to today's presenter, Renee Van Gestein. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Mogu's earnings release was distributed earlier today and is available on the IR website at ir.mogu-inc.com, as well as on the Business Wire services. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this conference call contains forward-looking statements within the meaning of Section 21E of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, as amended and as defined in the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. These forward-looking statements are based upon management's current expectations and the current market and operating conditions and relate to events that involve known or unknown risks, uncertainties, or other factors, all of which are difficult to predict and many of which are beyond the company's control, which may cause the company's actual results, performance, or achievements to differ materially from those in the forward-looking statements. Further information regarding these and other risks, uncertainties, or factors is included in the company's filings with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not undertake any obligation to update any forward-looking statement as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise, except as required under applicable law. On the call today from Mogu are Mr. Shak-Chen Chi, Chairman and CEO, Mr. Raymond Huang, Chief Strategy Officer, and Ms. Hui-Ping Ellie Wang, Financial Controller. Mr. Chen will review the business operations and company highlights, followed by Mr. Huang, who will discuss the financials. They will all be available to take your questions during the Q&A session that will follow. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Chen. Please go ahead.
大家好，感谢您参加我们2021财年第一季度的电话会议。在过去的一个季度，在坚持以直播为核心的电商战略下，我们的直播业务继续保持着高速的增长，而且增速已经从年初疫情影响之下逐渐的恢复了。直播 GMV 本季度同比增长 72.4%， 达到了 22.66 亿元。直播业务的占比逐渐提升到我们的业务的主导，与直播相关的 GMV 贡献了本季度总 GMV 的 72.6%。直播业务已经成为我们公司发展的核心的驱动力。我们过去4年多对直播业务的深入布局正在取得显著的成果，在主播的生态建设、供应链的生态建设等等方面都具备了比较深厚的积累，正在厚积而薄发。
Hello everyone, this is Shark. Thank you for joining us on the earnings conference call for the first quarter fiscal year 2021 today. In the past quarter, we continue to execute our live video broadcasting, or LVB, e-commerce strategy, and our LVB business regained strong growth momentum. GMV from the LVB business increased by 72.4% year-over-year to 2.3 billion RMB during this quarter. The LVB business is an increasingly important business driver that accounts for 72.6% of the total GMV this quarter. Our dedicated effort on LVB business over the past 4 years has achieved remarkable results, and we have accumulated significant amount of experience in building our ecosystem of KOLs and supply chain partners.
过去2年，蘑菇街的业务经历了比较大的转型。我们很早就确立了以直播为核心来打造蘑菇街未来差异化竞争力的战略。蘑菇街直播具备独特的用户体验，能够传播差异化的用户价值，因此直播业务一直维持着很高的增速。 ，GMV 的占比也越来越高。但在直播的模式之下，因为有主播的参与分成，因此 take rate 比传统的电商模式要低一些，这个也体现在公司同比收入和成本的变化上面。我们相信，随着直播业务持续高速增长，直播占比进一步的提升，公司的收入会重新回到增长的轨道上。
In the past 2 years, Mogu's business has gone through a major transformation. We have established our KOL-driven strategy with the goal of making Mogu Life a truly differentiated experience. Unique experience creates differentiated value for our customers. As a result, the LVB business has regained growth momentum this quarter and became the main contributor to our total GMV. Compared with the traditional e-commerce model, the participation of KOLs leads to a lower platform take rate, which has also been reflected in our company's year-over-year change on revenue and cost. We believe that as the LVB business continues to grow and LVB GMV increases as a percentage of the total GMV, the company will resume revenue growth.
我们的直播购买用户继续保持着稳定的增长。截止本季度末的12个月，直播业务的活跃购买用户数同比增长了37%，达到370万人。直播购买用户依旧保持了一贯的高粘性，用户人均每天观看直播71分钟，平均每月花21天在观看直播。正因为他们对平台的高参与，他们30天的复购率达到了91%，这体现了用户与主播之间深度的连接。这种连接超越了单纯的买家和卖家的关系，用户热衷于向主播表达他们的喜爱，并向身边的朋友推荐，吸引更多新的用户关注主播。我们致力于扩大这种分享拉新的形态，通过设计利益机制和玩法工具，帮助更多主播吸引自己的粉丝，在社交流量体系内拉新粉丝，形成用户的持续裂变，以较低成本获取更多的用户。
Our LVB buyers continue to grow steadily. In the 12 months ended June 30, 2020, the number of active buyers increased by 37% year-over-year to 3.7 million, and these users maintain consistently high stickiness. For example, active buyers watch LVB for an average of 71 minutes per day and on average of 21 days a month. And their high participation in the platform also contributes to a 30-day repurchase rate of 91%, which reflects an unusual connection between users and KOLs that goes beyond the simple buyer-seller relationship. Users are also keen to express their love to KOLs and recommend KOLs to their friends around them. We are committed to further develop the sharing mechanism for our user acquisition. By designing incentive schemes and gameplay tools, we can help more KOLs gather their fans to attract new fans through social network, and our platform can acquire customers at a lower cost.
在主播的建设方面，我们已经形成了非常良好的主播孵化和培养机制。在我们主播分层的管理体系中，新主播数量庞大，具备流动性，是主播后续培养的蓄水池。我们从中发掘出具备直播所需要素质、直播表现良好的潜力主播进行重点的扶持培养。此外，我们还通过不断举办活动和比赛来孵化新主播。例如今年我们的超模计划、兴起计划以及出道吧主播等等活动，在我们众多报名参加的新主播当中，批量选拔有潜力的新主播进行后续的扶持和培养。对于体系中各个层级的主播，我们通过持续的供应链赋能、人货匹配，持续开发新的营销工具和拉新工具，以及运营上的赋能支持，让每个层级的主播都能健康的向上流动。我们这些主播培养孵化的机制被证明行之有效，平台 K6 级以上主播的数量相比去年同比增长了55%。
In terms of the host incubation, we have developed a comprehensive Mogu Live host incubation and empowerment mechanism. There are many new hosts joining a Mogu platform on a daily basis, and we can selectively work with the KOLs that have greater potential. In addition, We also discover new KOLs by continuously launching events and competitions, such as this year's Super Mogu project, Qingqi project, and debut host. For KOLs at various stages in our incubation system, we match them with appropriate supply chain partners, empower them with innovative marketing tools, and support them to grow with our strong operational know-how. The incubation system has proved to be very effective. The number of established KOLs on the platform has increased by 55% year-over-year.
在供应链的建设上，我们正在继续扩大自身优势。直播带来了中国许多产业链的巨大变革，这一点大家有目共睹。越来越多的传统产业带的商家正在通过转变成为直播供应商来加速自身触网的节奏，他们受益于直播的渠道红利而迅速的发展。我们在上半年新引入了许多全品类的供应链商家，通过砍掉层层的中间环节，为主播提供优质的源头好货进行直播销售。另一方面，我们也在继续推进与品牌的合作，上半年引入了将近1000个品牌商家，共同组成蘑菇街的差异化货盘。
Digital adoption is the key driver behind the supply chain evolution in the first half of 2020. More and more traditional manufacturers have joined the live e-commerce space, and they have thrived due to the strong sector growth momentum. We onboarded many supply chain partners, bypassing middlemen and providing transparent pricing to eventually empower our KOLs to generate strong sales. In addition, we have also worked with nearly 1,000 brand merchants to further enrich KOLs' product offerings.
我们继续致力于对主播的供应链赋能，持续提升人货匹配效率。我们的琳琅选品后台也正在逐渐的完善，使得主播、供应工厂、品牌方、主货商、平台经纪人等等多方参与者都可以协同作业，提升整个系统的效率，加强对供应链市场的管控能力。
We continue to empower our KOLs with supply chain and improve the efficiency of matchmaking between our KOLs and products. Our Linlang system is built to empower KOLs, supply chain partners, brand curators, distributors, and MCN companies to participate in a more collaborative fashion. Mogu, therefore, has greater control over the suppliers.
未来整个直播的市场规模依然会保持高速的增长态势，越来越多产业带的商家、中小品牌正在通过直播拓展线上的销售，越来越多直播的购买用户正在被迅速的唤醒。我们置身于这一电商行业发展的大趋势之中，并且正在坚定地扩大自身的先发优势。我们相信公司长期的业绩具备很大的成长空间，未来非常值得期待。谢谢大家。
In the future, the e-commerce LVB market will maintain strong growth momentum. More C2M factories, SMEs, internet native brands will conduct their sales online through LVB. More and more customers will embrace this immersive shopping experience. We are very excited about the future of live video broadcasting e-commerce in China and our long-term growth prospect. Thank you. Thank you, Shark. This is Raymond, Chief Strategy Officer of Mogu. I would like to go through. Thank you for joining our conference call today. Now I will walk you through our first quarter fiscal year 2021 financials. We believe year-over-year comparison is the best way to review our performance. Unless otherwise stated, all percentage changes I'm going to give you will be on that basis. Let's review the financials first. Our GMV for the first quarter of fiscal year 2021 was RMB 3.1 billion, which decreased by 25.2% year-over-year. GMV for the first 12 months ended June 2020 was RMB 16 billion, which decreased by 8.6% year-over-year. Our focus has been growing the GMV from live video broadcasting, which has increased by 72.4% during the same period to RMB 2.3 billion. Our live video broadcasting business continues to increase as a percentage of the total GMV and is accounted for 72.6% for the first quarter. Active buyers for the LVB business in the 12 months ended June 30, 2020 grew by 37% to 3.7 million. So let's now turn to revenues. During this quarter, total revenue came in at RMB 132.5 million, a decrease of 46.8%. That was primarily due to 34.1% decrease in the commission revenue and 73.1% decrease in the marketing services revenue. The commission revenue decreased to RMB 85.3 million, primarily due to the remaining impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, all e-commerce logistics and demand for apparel, as well as the restructuring of our business towards the LVB business. Commission revenue from the LVB business grew significantly and was in line with the continued strong growth in the LVB associated GMV. Marketing services revenue, which is mainly generated from our marketplace business unit, decreased by 73.1% to RMB 24 million, which is primarily due to the remaining impact of COVID-19 pandemic and also the restructuring of our business mix towards the LVB business. Now, I will walk you through our major costs and expenses. Cost of revenue decreased by 19.5% to RMB 48.8 million from RMB 60.6 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. That was primarily due to a decrease in the cost associated with the decrease online direct sales. Sales and marketing expense decreased by 57.3% to RMB 61.9 million from RMB 145 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. That was primarily due to optimized spending on user acquisition and branding expenses. R&D expenses decreased by 48.4% to RMB 29 million from RMB 56.2 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily as a result of headcount optimization. G&A expense decreased by 31.2% to RMB 23.5 million from RMB 34.2 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily due to a decrease of share-based compensation expenses. Amortization of intangible assets increased by 9.3% to RMB 70.5 million from RMB 64.5 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. That was due to the amortization of the broadcasting license acquired in September 2019. Loss of operations was RMB 94.9 million, compared with RMB 105.3 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. Net loss attributable to Mogu's ordinary shareholders was RMB 88.9 million. Adjusted net loss was RMB 14.4 million. Adjusted EBITDA was negative RMB 17.4 million. As of June 30th, 2020, the company had cash and cash equivalent, restricted cash and short-term investments of RMB 1.05 billion. In summary, the strong Mogu Live user engagement is the best endorsement of our KOL-driven strategy. With the continuing rollout of our LVB business, we are seeing more KOLs joining our platform and more fashion supply chain partners onboarding our platform. Our transition into a KOL-driven and LVB-first platform is gradually paying off with strong growth momentum. As you have seen in this quarter, we have adopted a very disciplined approach in terms of sales marketing and user acquisition. We'll continue to be disciplined and deliver quality growth going forward. So with that, we would like to open the call for Q&A. Operator?
At this time, if anybody has a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that would be star 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll wait just a moment to compile a Q&A roster. Again, if anybody would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from Charlie Chen from China Renaissance. Your line is open.
嗨 ，Shark Raymond，你们好，我是 Charlie。那我就直接用中文问了。我想请问一下，就是我们看见就是这个 KOL 的这个有规模以上的这个 KOL 的增长还是蛮不错的。那我想请问一下，就是公司在培养这个 KOL 的这样一个过程中，因为已经培养了这个quarter 了，有没有一个就是模板或者是这个就是行之有效的一个方法，可以在比如说这个半年的时间内，把一个新进的 KOL 变成一个就是公司觉得已经到达一定规模的一个 KOL，有没有这样的一个就是成功的一个 formula？然后跟进的一个问题就是说，公司认为在未来的几个季度当中，可能这种成熟的 KOL 会到达一个什么样的一个规模？从人数上来说，谢谢。
Maybe I will translate the question first. Okay. So the question is that seems that the established host has been growing quite rapidly in this quarter. So Charlie is wondering if we have any proven formula or any proven tactics that we can incubate these KOLs.
谢谢 Charlie 的问题啊，分开回答一下。第一个的话，其实是这样的，我自己觉得并不存在某一种什么特别的模式是针对单个的具体的人，这个可能和娱乐圈比较类似。你说如果有一个具体的模式能把某一个演员就从一个小演员就把他推成一个大明星，事实上是不存在这个的。但是呢，我们的好处是我们是一个平台，我们有比较理想的一个大数的原则，所以只要我们的新人足够多，那我们确实是有一些方法能够提升每一个层级的这个主播往上成长的这个概率的。比如说在早期的主播的话，他们的成长可能最需要的其实是一些技巧，就是销售技巧如何去面对粉丝，如何去展示的商品。到这个中间段的时候呢，他们最需要的其实是货。那我们一直在讲，比较强调的是这个供应链和人货匹配。然后到了这个头部主播的时候，他们比较需要的是和其他平台的头部主播产生竞争。那么我们就需要组织一些他们作为个人不太能够组织到的资源，比如说这个价格特别有吸引力的这些品牌商品，或者整个市场上的稀缺商品。所以针对每个级别上的这个主播的群体，我们是有非常明确的运营方法的针对某一个个体，那主要是把他们放在这个大的这个池子里面去锻炼，然后作为平台来说就有个优势从概率上来说，让这个成长的概率变得更大一些。
To answer your question, no, we don't have a very specific proven formula in terms of incubating KOLs. I think we can draw a reference analogy to like maybe just entertainment. It's very difficult to produce or to incubate a movie star with the proven formula. We don't have the formula, and no one has that. But Mogu is a platform. The advantage of being a platform is that we have massive amount of KOLs joining our platform on daily basis. So on this platform, we can make sure that all the KOLs they have the upward mobility, so they can always move up, and we provide them with a lot of training and supply chain empowerment. So when they first join the platform, I think the most difficult part for them is that they need to acquire a certain type of sales skill, so that they know how to sell products. And secondly, they need to be matched with relevant and appropriate products, so they can generate sales. And then third, I think when they grow to be more top tier KOLs on our platform, they need to compete with KOLs from all different platforms over internet. So by then, the platform needs to provide them more unique products, more valuable products, like what we have tried before, the discounted brand products. That is some kind of resources that they themselves wouldn't be able to mobilize. So these are the key attributes we can empower the KOLs.
至于第二个问题的话，我们直播的业务的这个总的销售额其实和这个规模以上主播的数量还是比较密切相关的。就我刚才其实已经讲到，我们今年相对去年吧，同比就是规模以上的这个主播的增长已经有大概55%。那我们在整个平台上对我们的主播是做这个分层管理的，我们把他们分了这个10个级别。 那我们一般意义上说的规模以上的主播，是指这个在我们平台内的这个 K6级以上的这个主播，就是6、7、8、9、10。那按照我们现在的这个整个直播业务的增速的话，总体上我想接下来的时间还是能够保持这个类似的这个增速的。
Yes. So the second question is about established host and how do we see the scale and the magnitude going forward. We have delivered 55% year-over-year growth for the established host. So because we have a very specific tiering system for all the KOLs on our platform. So from K1 to K10, we have divided our KOLs by 10 different tiers. So we have deployed a lot of different strategies so that each tier of the KOLs can benefit from very specific incubation program that targeted for them. And we believe that going forward, we will be able to deliver the same level of growth in terms of the number of the established hosts.
OK， 回答完了。
OK， maybe operator, we can move to next one.
Okay, if anybody else has a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from Sabrina Hugh from Giffords. Your line is open.
Good evening, management. Thanks, management, for taking my question. I'm asking on behalf of Thomas Chong. My question is that considering that Taobao has excellent supply chain management and a great user base, Douyin and Kuaishou has more KOLs. Could management comment on what the competitiveness of Mogu's live video broadcast business, and is there any overlap on the customers? I'll translate myself. 就是目前考虑到像淘宝的话，有更强的供应链的管理能力以及一个更大的用户群，然后像抖音和快手的话，有更成熟的一个 KOL 系统，然后就希望管理层能更多的讲一下，就是蘑菇在直播业务方面的一个核心竞争力是哪个方面？谢谢。
好的，这个问题也是我们在每天日常运营里面需要去回答的这个问题。那从蘑菇的角度上来讲，我们直播只是一种销售的形式虽然我们是这个模式的开创者，但是我对它的看法是一种新的销售模式。它从我们的业务的本质来说，并没有对我们的业务本质产生很大的变化。我们的本质说还是给有时尚消费需求的用户去提供消费决策方面的帮助，主要是通过我们的 K2 去提供这个消费决策的帮助，同时把这个商品给卖出去，这个一直都是我们的核心的价值。那就像您刚刚讲到比如说淘宝确实是它有这个最多的这个商家的这个数量，但是蘑菇在主播和供应链的匹配方面，我们是投入最大的这个精力的。一定程度上也是因为我们的这个主播和供应链的商家的数量并没有那么多，所以我们平台可以花更大的这个力量投入在他们的这个匹配和对接上面。所以我们的主播在平台上成长会获得平台更多的这个服务和支持这也是蘑菇街的主播本身拥有非常高的忠诚度的非常很重要的一个原因吧。然后抖音快手的话，我认为本质上来说他们还是一个娱乐性的平台，消费者对一个平台还是会有第一印象认知的。一个娱乐平台它的用户量非常大的时候，自然可以通过这个接入这个电商的一些功能产生一些销售，我认为这是没有问题的但是它很难成为一个主流的消费者的认知和消费者在平台上的行为习惯。但蘑菇街从第一天开始对消费者来说就是非常清晰的一个消费的地方，而且是一个消费时尚消费品这样一个地方，所以这种认知本身是我们的一个立身之本，也是我们的护城河所以主要是从这两个方面吧，我们相对其他平台还是会有自己非常独特的定位和这个市场的空间的。
好的，了解了，谢谢。
谢谢。
Yeah, maybe let me just quickly translate the answer for the rest of the audience. So yes, we do very closely monitor all the other platforms that provide the same service. But I think our core value is really about our KOLs providing fashion decisions, fashion shopping decisions, help customers to make these fashion shopping decisions, and we can sell the clothes and throughout this decision-making process. As you mentioned, I think Taobao apparently has a very big supply chain foundation, and because we are a smaller platform, so apparently we can actually do more in-depth matchmaking between the KOLs and the supply chain partners. So that's why our KOLs are actually more grateful on our platform, and they're actually more loyal to our platform as well. Speaking of Douyin and Kuaishou, I think these two platforms, there's no problem with them trying to monetize the audience through live video broadcasting, e-commerce. But I think fundamentally they are more like entertainment platform instead of shopping platform. And our customers come to Mogu with the mindset that this is a shopping place. So this mindset is a very, very important asset of ours. And I believe this mindset is also our key entry barrier when it comes to competition with other entertainment platforms. Okay. Operator, we can take the next question.
Okay, if anybody else would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from Lucky Lau from AJ Asset Management. Your line is open.
管理者你们好，我就有2个问题想问的。第一个呢，就是想问一下呢，就是我们的LVB 看起来增长是很快的，然后呢，在618的时候呢，头3位的主播其实他们的表现也是非常的出色，所以能不能给我们预计一下，就是未来2-3年这个 LVB 的增长情况，还有就是可能是目标。另外呢，就想问一下呢，就是我们目前的一个用户的获取成本是怎么样？还有就是未来流量持续倒流的渠道是什么呢？还有目前就是多少的比例通过微信？谢谢。
Okay. So maybe I'll just quickly translate the 2 questions here. So number 1 is about the growth prospect of LVB. Apparently has delivered strong growth over last quarter, and what's our plan going forward? The other question is more about the customer acquisition strategy we have, and what's the key, what's the outlook of the customer acquisition, and also what percentage we should look at for the customers from WeChat. Lucky, is that right?
Correct. Thanks.
Okay, sure. So maybe I will talk about the LVB first. So I think it's very important to note that our previous quarter, our LVB only grew at, I think, roughly 50%. That was because of the COVID-19 situation. And apparently in the Q2, our growth rate actually picked up a lot. Not just because I think COVID is partially behind us. We are seeing very strong recovery from Chinese from consumption in general, but also because we have more dedicated efforts in terms of supply chain empowerment. We help our KOL to resume to get back to work in the normal situation as soon as possible. So I think in Q2 we have done a lot of work in terms of helping the KOLs, and this will be our driver for the LVB business going forward. Supply chain empowerment is very it's highly correlated with the supply chain empowerment we provide. Going forward, we wouldn't be able to give very specific guidance, but we believe that there are 2 things we can provide. Is that number 1 is the overall market for LVB is very big. As we can see that more and more customers are embracing this new immersive form of sales, and people are generally very interested in trying out that video broadcasting e-commerce. Number 2, there are actually more supply chain partners willing to adopt this form thanks to the digital adoption in China. So I think these 2 points add up together. We are very positive on the outlook for the LVB market. And number 2 is about this. I think you're referring to the June 18th performance, right? I think Q2 is actually not a particularly like good season for apparel sector. but I think we are doing fine in the second quarter. And our customer acquisition strategy have actually more diversified tactics.
有，我咪報得喺度，我買咗。
Lucky, do you mind put yourself on mute? It seems that we're hearing a lot of background noise. Okay, so the second question is about the customer acquisition strategy. I think Tencent apparently is a partner of ours, and Tencent is the number one shareholder of ours. So going forward, customer acquisition strategy, and for the WeChat mini program, that takes up probably more than 1/3 of our customers already. I will continue to build more gameplay tools and marketing tools for our KOL to acquire customers. Okay, operator, we can move to our next question.
If anybody has a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that would be star 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from Craig Chen from China Renaissance. Your line is open.
喂，谢谢管理层，然后hi, this is Veronica from China Renaissance. My question is regarding to the outlook for the second quarter this year. Well, since the third quarter this year is usually the low season within the year, so what activity or event should we anticipate in the third quarter, and how's the plan for Double 11 in the fourth quarter this year? Well, 我自己翻译一下自己的问题啊，我主要想问一下，就是咱们对这个下半年的一个展望，然后因为三季度一般都是我们电商的，然后或者说就是一个比较淡季的时候，然后我想问一下，咱们在三季度会有一些什么样的动作，然后还有就是双11咱们现在有什么计划？谢谢。
谢谢这个问题啊，你还是你讲这个非常对啊，一般我们这个三季度都是比较淡的这个时候，然后特别是我们这个时尚类的这个品类吧，特别是在夏天的时候，服装不光单价低，然后大家消费整体也会减弱一些，所以三季度我们相对来说在运营动作上比较重视的就是这个服装品类以外的一些品类，然后借这个时机，我们也在促进我们扩张品类的这样一些动作。所以三季度我们会有比较多的服装以外的品类的这些促销活动啦，然后包括品牌的折扣专场啦，以及一些反季的一些动作，比如说我们最近做一些这个羽绒服啊，然后棉服的这个销售反而还挺好的。所以三季度主要是一个从销售的角度上来说，通过扩品类来平衡这个淡季，然后三季度通常也是我们每年运营里面在这个控制成本方面我会投入比较多的一个季度，来调整这个团队更好的节奏，迎接这个 Q4 的这个Q4 的一些这个旺季的来临吧。
Okay. As you know, Q3 is actually usually a low season for the apparel sector because people usually don't have very strong appetite when it comes to fashion shopping, and the ASP is probably lower than the other quarters. And this quarter specifically, we are more focused on expanding our categories, and so outside of apparel, and we will actually expand into we will actually focus more on other categories that is non-fashion related. For example, we actually probably sell like snacks, branded products, or sometimes we even sell off-season products like down jacket from the winter. We actually sell them in Q2 and Q3. So these are a few tactics we use in the Q3 to mitigate the seasonality. And the Q3 is also a quarter that we emphasize on the cost control. So we want to repace our team to be more prepared to embrace the Q4 this year.
谢谢管理层。然后我还有一个小问题。您说。
对，你刚才提到还有那个四季度的。
对。
四季度。
对，
四季度的话，我们当然这个首先是旺季，而且也是整个电商的这个促销季，这一些 就是例行要做的这些事情，我们肯定是重点要做的。但另外，因为我们整个业务里面的大部分都已经是直播业务了，所以四季度对我们还有一个比较重要的这个意义是说，借助比较高的这个销售额和增速，进一步去撬动我们的主播和我们的供应链以及撬动他们之间的这个配合。所以从9月份开始，我们也密集的会开展我们线下的这个选品会然后主播和供应链的直接的线下的对接等等。每年四季度其实对我们来说，可能这个事情的意义会更大因为通过这个旺季，然后把我们整个业务再上一个台阶。
Yes. So going into Q4, apparently the Q4 the ASP is going to be higher. The total GMV is going to be much higher too. So we have going to September, we will actually arrange a lot of the maybe just the trade fairs between the KOLs and supply chain partners. We're going to use the magnitude of Q4 GMV to mobilize more KOLs and to work with more supply chain partners so that they can generate greater sales. The partnership they form on the platform will will stay there, and that's gonna help the Mogu platform to step up and to improve the magnitude of our total business.
谢谢管理层。然后我还有一个第二个问题，然后是想问一下关于咱们这个成本控制这块，因为我看咱们这个季度其实做的还挺好的，然后就是这个，然后就是 net loss 的亏损，就是 non-GAAP 这块也是有特别多的一个收窄，然后就想问一下咱们未来怎么看这个未来几个 quarter 的这个 margin， 然后还有就是说我们是不是可以期待一下，就是今年会有一个 break even， 然后我自己翻译一下well in this quarter we can see we did a good job in cost control and our non-GAAP net loss has narrowed. So how should we look at the margin in the following quarters, and should we anticipate the break-even point within this year? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think going to the financials, right? So apparently you can see that we have adopted a very disciplined approach in the Q2 this year, and our costs and expenses have significantly shrank. This is because we want to be more focused. We want to be more focused and more discreet and prudent when it comes to customer acquisition strategy. So I think going forward, we wouldn't be able to give a very precise date of break even. Of course, break even is always our goal, but we wouldn't be able to give a very specific date or guidance on which quarter or which year we're going to break even. But as you can see that we're working towards that. I think you can see that we have achieved very significant efficiency in terms of the internal operations, and all the relevant expenses have come down. So I think that should be we should be on the right track.
Okay, thanks, Shark and Raymond.
谢谢。
Thank you.
If anybody else has a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. I have no further questions at this time. I turn the call back over to the presenters for closing remarks.
Thank you, Michelle. This concludes our call tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Should you have any question or need additional information, please do not hesitate to reach out. Good night.
Okay,
thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. This will conclude today's conference call. You may now disconnect.